We are back for the second half of round 2 from the Fort Gordon Marine Navy course. I'm Steve Hill, alongside me again, Jeremy Colling. And thanks for joining us. We got a good little battle going here. Devin Owens starting out very nicely today.
7 down to the front 9 at Fort Gordon, the PDGA 2017 Disc Golf World Championships. That's how you make your mark. He's making a great run for it. Right behind him, Simon and Paul are playing good golf too, and Greg's not too far behind either. And we have a really challenging but very attackable back 9.
Yeah, a lot of hey, there's all those gnats. We've been mentioning the gnats plenty.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
So this hole right here is a very tight technical downhill flip-up shot. Suits really well for a lefty or a forehand. There's also, you'll see players like Simon who like to come up with crazy routes, throw the big hyzer shot.
That's so far out there.
Yeah, and this one was probably way wider than he wanted to be, and he actually still has a look. It looked like he was about 10 to 15 yards wider than he wanted to be.
Exactly.
Being as downhill as this one is, I feel like Greg wanted to keep that a little bit lower, and yeah, he ended up catching a couple of those early trees there. It looks like Paul's lining up the hyzer shot too. Let's see if he can make the correction from Simon's shot.
Yeah, he brings that a little tighter.
Yeah, that looks nice. He's just got to avoid those last things. It's going to be hard to. It's really hard to tell from the tee if it's going to be up there parked or not, because you just have so many trees in the way.
That's kind of the theme for this back 9. It's compared to the front half, much more tightly wooded.
Yeah, this is going to be much more like W.R. Jackson type golf. Maybe not quite as long as the back 9 at Jackson.
Oh, nice run from Paul.
But still very technical, keeping you honest all the way through, and you're going to have to deal with good kicks and bad kicks. Mostly bad, it seems like. And really didn't have a look there from Simon. And let's see if Devin can get this back 9 started the right way. Oh, and that's really the first mistake we've seen him make.
Yeah, there was a pretty long backup before this hole, and
yeah,
it might have gotten him out of his zone a little bit.
Sure, I mean he was just rolling through that front 9, and you know the last thing you want when you're playing on a heater like that is to slow down. Really, the last thing you ever want in tournament play is to slow down. But sometimes it's nice if you're not doing so well, you can kind of breathe and take a moment. But
yeah, not the situation where you want to have that break there. But
there's that tap-in that I don't like, where you take the putter, you drop it in on top of your other putter. I don't like that tap-in. I don't like what Devin did there. I'm just gonna put it out there. I hate it when players do that.
This hole's a monster.
Yeah, this one is a monster. And sorry we don't have drone footage. If you didn't catch the front 9, we are on a military base here at Fort Gordon, and it is not permitted to have any sort of drone footage. So hole 11, and this one is one of the harder holes in the course. That right there is
such a beautiful shot.
It is such a nice shot, and he really kind of got screwed out of another 40, 50 feet with that ground action there. This is a new course, and you have a ton of roots out there that just haven't been cut down yet. And Simon is going for the Simon-type route, but doesn't quite get away with it.
For Devin to execute that shot in that kind of corridor as a lefty, I mean, obviously you're not speaking as a lefty, but
yeah,
I mean,
lefty-ish.
spell that out. I mean, what kind of execution is that taking for him there?
I mean, it's just really, it's all about disc selection on this kind of shot for a lefty, because it is a right turning hole, and here you're seeing Paul go with the kind of the cheater route, really getting a ton of distance there, leaving him a short approach, but you have to throw something that's going to have a late turn, and just the angle isn't that comfortable for a lefty. It's much greater favors the righty flip-up backhand mid-range or fairway driver. But here you're seeing the interesting shots that players kind of have to come up with just off the fairway. I mean, that's what makes this hole such a long backup. I mean, we were waiting maybe 45 minutes before we could tee off on this hole.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the spot of the round where it's hot. You're dealing with all the gnats. You're
Yep.
hitting all these trees.
Yep.
Greg at this time was getting pretty heated just because it was that time of the
Yeah, it
round
was
where
a
things just
boiling
weren't
point.
going well. Yeah,
Right. And and Devin, man, just really great tee shot. Had to keep that thing wide to give it a chance to come back into the green, just a little bit too wide. I mean, if this hole wasn't treacherous enough, once you get down to the green, there is that little skinny shelf that you see, that little walking path, and right behind that is a severe drop off downhill about 80 feet or so, and there's OB down there.
Yeah, Paul came in just slow enough there
Yeah.
to where he was able to handle that. But you see, Devin definitely took something off there.
There's no that's a no-brainer. You lay that one up. I mean, Simon's not even going for that. That tells you right there, the world's most aggressive player of all time is laying that up. There's not really any sense in going for it. And Greg did have the green light because he was putting back uphill,
Right.
but he.
Now, there's a couple of these baskets perched like this on this back half.
Yeah, this one. Oh, there. Oh, God, I hate that tap in. I hate it so much. And Paul, I think that was a bogey for Paul. Man, it's a really, really just incredibly difficult par 4. It's hard to really state how hard it really is. The T sign says that it's 704 feet. Shout out to the Charlotte area code 704. But it really is closer to 600 feet. But it's 600 feet of just the tightest, most constraining fairway you're really going to play.
Would you say that's the hardest hole on this course?
I think that 8 of the holes are the hardest holes on the course.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
This course is really tough all the way through, but that's certainly I wouldn't be surprised if that was the number 1 handicap on the course. And this is one of the shortest, probably the shortest par 4 on the course. But again, you are climbing a hill all the way through, tight corridor, low ceiling, and you see that Devin didn't quite get the ceiling right, but he's off to that right side of the fairway, which is the most open part of the fairway. Anything left or center, you're going to have a lot more trees to deal with. So you're going to want to turn your drive over just a bit, and Simon catching those early trees. He's going to have a long way to go from there, and a lot of trees in the way too.
Now this kind of seems, at least to me, where this course diverges a bit from Jackson. Jackson doesn't quite have this level of hiking.
Yeah, no, the elevation out here is really intense, especially on the back 9. I mean, you have the last hole that goes, 10 and 11 go downhill, and then you're climbing back up the hill on 12, and then you'll see it continues to go up and down all the way through the entire back 9.
Now, you got to be in shape out here.
Yeah, and there is some elevation to speak of at Jackson, but for the most part, it's pretty flat. You can bring your cart.
It's a lot more gradual,
This
too.
is not a cart-friendly disc golf course. Simon having to go with the turnover putter. Didn't quite keep it turned over enough. He might have caught the top of those pines there. But he's still looking probably just outside circle's edge for his birdie. And that's a big spike hyzer there from Devin. If he can miss the tops of these trees, which he does not, he would have been looking at a nice birdie. He's going to have to get tricky there from about 75, 80 to get his par.
Yeah, hitting a little bit of some struggles here after his hot start.
And you can see the right side, how much more open that is. But, there's still trees just all over the freaking place.
Oh, man, he almost put that one in.
Was that a tomahawk? Man, these guys are pulling out all the tricks. And you really have to.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the woods, you have to have at least 2 or 3 discs dedicated in your bag to just different types of trick shots. Flick rollers, grenades, tomahawks. If you saw the front 9, you saw old Simon even throw the skamahawk, which still my mind is trying to figure that one out.
Oh, that's fun though. I mean, that's why disc golf's in the woods, right? So it challenges all those different skills.
That was top shelf there. Really surprising there from Paul. And equally surprising is Simon's inability to cash in on these 50, 60 footers. He's one of the best in the game at those long putts, and he's got such a consistent spin putt. You normally see him cash 2 or 3 of those. If he's going to have 6 of them, I'm giving him credit for making at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's always just, and he's always just kind of been on that fringe. He hasn't ever been able to get into that comfortable zone to where it's not, you know.
And on to 13, the shortest hole in the back nine. This is again one of those maybe two or three holes in the course where you're thinking to yourself, this is a must get. And
another one that lines up for a Devon backhand.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a. Those trees served as a nice little speed control there. This is a super downhill shot. You can kind of get a feel for it. What is he looking at? I just can't get over this guy. I love watching him play, but man.
Oh, wow.
What on earth? What on earth is he doing?
He's the only one who does that stuff. It's great.
This is what most people do.
I mean, what's it like being on a card with him? Like, do you feel? Wow, that was a great shot too.
Well,
Do you feel a little bit outshined sometimes when he's pulling off stuff like that, or do you just marvel at it like this?
I don't ever try to do anything that he does. So yeah, he outshines me every time I play.
That's a great follow flight there.
Yeah, that was really cool. You know, that shot didn't stay as close to the basket as you normally see on those follow flights, but that was such a cool shape.
Yep.
And that is the preferred route there. It's just a little bit of a flex. But these kind of short flex shots are really tricky to execute. That's got to sit down. I think he's going to curl up nicely. Oh, but that thing just picks up speed. Oh, my goodness. That would have not been a good follow flight there. That would have been pretty rude.
A little bit. Put that one on the gag reel. Oh, man, he almost made that back, too.
He almost got the Slomes comeback, though. Just a little bit short.
Yeah, the speed control.
Oh.
Coin return there. The speed control really seems to be an issue coming into these shots.
Yeah, there's really no. The slope continues past the basket, so there's no bank or anything. You know, you have those trees behind the basket, but besides that, it's really all about landing the disc about 30 feet short on a soft angle. Anything with a lot of angle is going to want to roll, and so it's really. You can't throw your most overstable disc. He's laughing at that.
Hell yeah.
I don't know where that thing would have gone if it didn't hit a million trees, but solid birdies there from Devon and Simon. And Paul and Greg both needed to come up a little bit higher, came up just a bit short on their putts. On to hole 14. Not the longest par 3 on the course, but arguably the hardest, maybe. It's hard to say. I mean, there's so many hard holes in this course, but this one is especially challenging. You have a very steep downhill slope here that I'm not sure if you can quite gauge the
No, this
the
doesn't
slope
really do
here.
it quite enough justice.
But, I mean, this hole, for a lefty especially, is just incredibly difficult. You see the basket there is on the similar shelf as hole 11. You have the little walkway, and then right behind the basket there's another drop-off that takes you about 50 feet downhill towards OB.
Yeah, if you haven't been punished enough already on this course, then you have to throw the death putts into the mix.
And look at that. Simon gets through everything, catching one of those few really few and far between awesome breaks that you see on this course, and he'll be just inside the circle about 28 feet away. And Paul just misses that one you got to miss there, and if that sits down, he'll have a look at birdie too. That's a great tee shot. Perfect distance control, just a bit left of what he was aiming for, but still a quality shot. But for the lefty here, there is so much to contend with. Even if you do get your disc to turn over and hit that gap, to keep your disc from rolling back down the hill is just really tough.
Oh, Barsby gets a little skid there. He's gonna be safe.
Yeah, that's a good break there. And this has got to slow down.
I think he kicked off that tree there.
And that is gonna be a tester. I mean, for the lefty, he's putting with the hyzer. If he misses this thing, this goes down the hill.
That's a great putt.
He don't miss it. That was an awesome par save from Devin.
He's been very impressive. Save that one putt on hole 10. He's circle's edge. Simon, there you go.
There's Simon, yeah.
Circle's edge, though, for Devin most of the day has just been money.
And at this point in the round, he is tied for the lead at the World Championships. Is that correct?
He's right up there. He's made a move up to either first or second. Depends on what Mr. Johnny McRae is doing at the time. But yeah, he's making moves.
Making moves from second card. And Paul is cashing in on his birdie putt with a slightly awkward line or a stance there. But he's had a lot of practice with awkward stances. He's been going back and forth between the traditional and straddle putt. And so...
it's something he can break out when he needs to.
Yeah, exactly. He's not uncomfortable whenever he needs to go with something a little bit different than what he's comfortable with. But 2 birdies on the hole is really impressive for how difficult that hole is. And Devin and Greg both coming up with great par saves.
Now we head into another fairly long one. Another with a lot of stuff to contend with, though.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's a lot of stuff.
that's the family-friendly version.
Yeah, there's a lot of tree stuff. This one isn't it's 518 is relatively short for the par 4s in this course, but there is basically that one gap, and you want to shoot way up to the right, just like Simon's doing, and that puts you in a great spot. That's really what you're trying to do here. There's no point in trying to bite off more than what's right there in front of you.
You just got to play the placement shot.
Yep. You just want to hit that gap there that you saw Simon hit and just give yourself about 100 feet. And this is a bit high,
yeah.
But if that gets through clean, then that's perfect. I mean, it doesn't look like that's the gap from the tee, but that's actually the biggest gap up there when you walk to that corner. And Devin's going for the flip up, and he smokes this. And he just catches a tree there at the end, but he's going to have maybe a few more trees in the way, but he has less distance than Simon and Paul have. And,
he hit that one late.
That's the first tree that we really saw smacked on this hole, which is really impressive. I mean... Not that impressive for Greg to hit it, but the fact that there weren't more hit, and a really nice recovery.
Yeah, just kind of sneaks through all those ones there. So Simon, you can see Simon has that gap.
Look at this. Oh man, he's so good from that range. Just giving a little bit of a scare there. He'll have an easy birdie 3.
Paul had to put a little more ante on that one. I thought he had a little cleaner of a look.
And still, he's walking away with his birdie in this hole, and Devin leaving some meat in the bone there. He's going to be about 28 feet or so, a little bit longer than he wants for sure.
Oh man, he just kicked off that tree there, didn't he?
And even when you get all the way to the green, I mean, you look at the trees; they're all around, and
nice.
Oh my! Look at that catch, man! When it's going, it's just going, huh?
He's having a day.
Wow. Really impressive catch by the Mach X there. And a pretty solid putt there from Devin, too. But a nice putt there from Simon for his birdie. And Paul cleaning up as well.
Yeah, Devin, I mean, he's just been fun to watch today. He's really put together a really quality round on the whole.
You can tell he's just calm, cool, collected right now. This kind of course is one that tests your nerves, and if you aren't comfortable, if you're not calm, if you're not accepting of what's going on around you with the kicks, good or bad, you can really get wrapped up in the things that you can't control, like the Georgia Gnats. I mean, those things, if you're mad about a bad throw or a bad putt,
they just compound that.
It's all compounded. And you don't want any sort of frustration going to this hole, because I think this might be the weirdest.
The pin placement on this is really odd.
I'd say that if there's a hole in the course I don't like,
is this one?
Well, it would be this hole.
So I saw Drew Gibson hit that same branch, and he was not happy about it.
Yeah.
It's just that one random one sticking out there. Paul taking it out of the equation, though.
And, that shot, it looked a little sawed off from the tee, but that was actually perfect. And then there's trees in the way. It's just, there's just one too many things to contend with. You have that hillside there, and we're going to see if Devin actually, well, I mean, that is one of the best shots I've seen in the hole, and he's still 45 feet away.
And there haven't been many of those poke and pray kind of shots on this course, but this one almost qualifies at the later end of the fairway, at least.
Yeah,
if you even want to call it a fairway.
There's just, I mean, the low ceiling downhill shot already is and that's coming in hot.
Oh wow, God. You got some help.
That was incredibly fortunate. He might have been 80 feet past the basket if that didn't hit those trees there.
Oh, I thought Simon was giving that a run.
He was giving that a run. That's a Simon specialty right there. He'll have some work to do to pick up his par. And Paul's going to have some work to pick up his par too. He just got tripped over Simon's disc back there on the back edge of the fairway or the green. And I kind of expected to see that one drop.
Yeah, the way he's been putting all day.
Greg tapping out there. Do you guys mind if I play through?
Paul's swatting away those gnats again.
Yeah, it's
wow. Another top rack there.
Yeah, and going back to the straddle putt there, and that's something when you're in the woods. If you don't have a good solid straddle putt, if you're not comfortable with going with that, you're going to be in some bad spots.
Oh man.
Oh, and Simon kind of paying the price for his aggressive downhill run from 70 feet. And a good solid cleanup there from Devin.
So that's gonna end up being a bogey for Simon.
Yep, bogey for Simon, 3 pars for Paul, Greg, and Devin. And
is that Simon's first bogey? No.
I
don't think we've seen very many from him. For him being as far away from the basket as he's been every time, I haven't seen much.
He's not letting many strokes bleed out. And on a 17,
you start going back uphill.
Yeah, going uphill. The 17th hole is tricky because you have this little mound here, and there's actually 2 mounds. Obviously, you have this first one right in front of the tee box, but then there's also a second tier that you want to get up to. And if you clear that straight gap that you can see out there in the distance, it's a pretty straightforward shot from there to get to the green. However, it's just kind of, you have to throw kind of a flip-up shot that has a late turn to keep it out there in the fairway.
Johnny McRae smashed this hole.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That guy's really
his
good.
drive on this one was incredible. And that's
that
a great shot,
right
too.
there is textbook.
Yep.
Flipped it up through it, and he's just going to have a little backhand hyzer putter or maybe a turnover sidearm mid-range or something like that from there. And this is a Simon-type hole right here. He's so good at these tunnel shots where he can throw full speed. And that's
a beautiful shot.
He's got a jump putt from there. That is incredible. I mean, you can see the kind of punishment you get in if you don't throw a good tee shot. Paul is well out of position, but he has that up top space there to be able to flex one.
Now, what's going through your mind when you walk up to a hole like this that it's late in the round, it's hot, you're tired, and then you just have to hike for the next 2 holes?
Pizza.
Motivation.
AC. I mean, for me today, my motivation was just get back home and go take a nap.
Yeah.
But that's a different story. I mean, really, if you're in the right mindset, you're just
thinking. It shouldn't matter, right?
Right. And that's just a quick little pitch up from Simon. And Devin's kind of in a tricky spot. He's got to come up with some. I mean, there's.
Nicely done.
He's thrown a tomahawk.
Yeah, we've seen a bit.
A grenade, a flick roller from him this round. He's had to do everything.
He's definitely earned it.
Yeah, he's playing great, and that's really all you can do from Paul. He's not happy about taking a 4 here. And again, this is a shorter par 4. Really, a lot of the holes at this World Championship require 2 incredible shots. This is not one of them. really this shot comes down to throwing one incredible shot off the tee, and then you're set up for a pretty easy birdie. As you saw there from Simon and Greg, they threw great tee shots, and then they had pitches to the green. The tee shot is very difficult. However, if you do execute it, you are pretty much guaranteed a birdie. So it's not as hard as a lot of these par fours out on at the Augusta World Championship.
Yeah, I think a lot of the difficulty in that one just comes in the elevation, which we get even more of here to close out the round. 1,004 feet.
Yep. It wouldn't be the back nine at Fort Gordon if there weren't some elevation. So we're just rising uphill here, 1,000 feet. Somewhat tight gap if you keep your tee shot low. But there's also the over-the-top shot or the roller play. As you see Greg laying down a beautiful-looking roller that just didn't quite stand up, but he got a good enough distance, and he's out in the open.
Yeah, he doesn't have much to contend with.
That is really the only objective, is just getting out in the open and being able to throw a long second shot. And I don't think Simon is going to throw anything but really far. And kind of stalled it out a bit, which is surprising. This is a really great hole for a player like Simon, who is great at those big over-the-top crushing distance shots.
Yeah, just be able to capitalize on that late in the round.
But throwing uphill like this, it does benefit a lower shot like Paul threw there. If you feel comfortable hitting that gap, and Paul's one of the best in the game of all time at hitting gaps like that, throwing a driver, you're going to be able to get more distance if you don't have to throw the stall shot. And although they caught that tree, he's still out in the open, like I said. It really is about making sure that you can get a lot of distance on this second shot. And
the basket up here is pretty well guarded. There's you want to be on that side more where Devin ended up, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the only thing that you want to not do is be in a spot where you can't advance the disc 300 to 400 feet. And Simon can't get that thing to quite turn over enough, but unless that thing keeps rolling, he should be still within 300 feet or so to get up and down and get his birdie. And see Paul swatting away those gnats. Pesky little buggers.
In front of the camera, man.
Yeah, they're bad. And he's going with a little air shot turnover, a bit more cut than he wanted. He's going to be in a tricky spot. Yeah, that's not what he was looking for from there. That was a bit of an errant shot. I wonder if his foot got stuck in the sand there.
Barsby with another roller.
A quality-looking roller. Grass is kind of tall, but he gets past that tree. If that had gone to the backside of that tree, it would have been pretty brutal. But that's a great place to be after two. He's just over 100 feet away in two shots on this 1,000-foot uphill par 5. So well done there for Greg.
I feel like it's really hard. I don't want to overstate it, but I also don't want to understate. Like, just this hole coming at the end of the round with how brutal the conditions were out there. It's just
beat down.
Yeah, it's tiring.
And it looks like Paul somehow slipped through the rough, and he isn't where he wants to be, but he's still got the over-the-top sidearm. And
wow.
And he's looking good from there.
Yeah, he should be able to finish out the round nicely.
And Simon beating the camera guys. That's a hard thing to do. The Gemma's crew is usually on top of it.
They are on it.
But Simon is a quick player sometimes. And Greg putting his approach.
Yeah, he's played this hole really nicely.
Can't quite capitalize. Still an incredible round from Devin. Let's see if Paul can convert on his 4.
Oh, that's a nice way to close out the round going into Jackson tomorrow.
Yeah, a nice tee shot. Not the greatest second shot. A decent recovery shot. And then a solid putt from about circle's edge. And that's just sick playing there from Devin.
Yeah, great round.
I think it was bogey-free.
It was bogey-free, 9 under.
Yeah. Par 67. a 58 is pretty awesome. And Greg making a little bit more work than he wanted to on that last hole, but he's going to finish up with a great birdie there.
And Simon, it looked like he had trouble getting things going, but he still ended up 7 under. He's only back by a few off the lead.
Yeah.
Overall, Devin actually moved up into 3rd place overall.
And Devin with his 9 under, you saw that great round. That was 3 strokes short of what Ricky shot today, which is just incredible because it really didn't seem like Devin left that much out there. But wow, what an awesome battle we have brewing with Team Latitude. Johnny McRae, the old veteran,
Yeah.
Ricky Wysocki, #1 player in the world.
That's gonna be fun tomorrow.
Devin Owens, and was that Adam James on the lead card with him
I
as
believe
well?
Cam Colglazer is gonna take that spot.
Okay, so Cam Colglazer, who's he's familiar to the Final 9 at the World Championships. So what an incredible 3rd round we have coming tomorrow. Stay tuned. Thanks to Jomez, Innova Champion, and PDGA. We'll see you guys for the 3rd round at the PDGA World Championships.